Hello and welcome everyone to another episode. Yes, so I've decided to launch this behemoth piece already, the beginnings of our Kerbin fuel tanker. Overall, the launch, like figuring this thing out and how to set up these fuel lines and among like a million other things have been an absolute pain. Wow. I can't even believe how many times I've actually had to launch this thing. I think this might be somewhere around like the 10th launch or so, and yeah, I think I've finally got it down. The weirdest thing keeps happening off of Launchpad and a bunch of other things. Basically, the fuel tank, wow, what's going on here? I kept on pushing spacebar and I'm like, oh god, is there something else that's wrong now? No, so basically the fuel tanks, they drain these two tanks first, and then it's the, then it crosses and drains the other two tanks. I should slow down a little bit here, conserve a little bit of this fuel that we're burning up, but basically, here, I should turn these on too. Yeah, so there was a little bit of changes between the design and what I finally decided to launch. What I did add was basically a bunch. I got rid of all these solar panels, and the only reason why I just really didn't like how they looked. And also, once they get into space, it was from one of my last designs on some of my older rockets. Well, my interplanetary ships and stuff like that. When you put them on the outside like that, they have a tendency to kind of clip inside of the structure, and I just kind of don't like that. It just doesn't really look that good. Coming from a person who's clipping other parts into other parts, but, it just didn't really look that good. It didn't really have a really great setup with that, so I just was like, yeah, time to get rid of that. Might as well. But anyways, I mean, overall we have a pretty good ship, I will say. I did a little bit of testing on it. I basically got it up. The last launch I did with this thing, I got it up to like 11,000 meters or so, and it worked out pretty well. And I was testing out the RCS and the control systems, the SAS system and all that other good stuff, just to see how it really functioned kind of in a space environment, even though I know at 11,000 meters you're not really in a space environment, but hey, whatever. I tested it out to see if it worked, and it fared pretty freaking well. So, let's see. We gotta get rid of all of these. Is everything staged correctly? I have a really bad tendency to not stage things the right way and then shoot a video. So I'm just making sure. So all we really need to do is just get this thing into orbit. It's so wobbly right now. It looks like the actual strut parts themselves are still there. I was really curious about that. It looks like they're still on the main structure, so that's good. I'm just going to keep it throttled back a little bit because I don't like how this is looking. It's kind of, you can see it bouncing around between, in the middle here. It really doesn't look that good. But anyways, I should mention that I did update. And, for a lot of you who didn't know, basically I didn't update after, because there was, 0.20? Or was that 0.21? I don't know. But then there was like a little update that came out right afterwards, basically to fix some stuff that wasn't added to the game. So it was like to fix the SAS modules and stuff like that. I didn't update because I was having like graphic issues and stuff, and like it really just didn't operate well on my system. So I was just kind of like really hesitant towards even trying the update or even putting it on or anything, or even wasting my time with it. So what ended up happening is, for those of you who don't know, I ended up staying at my parents' house for like the weekend or whatever, or not for the weekend, but for the whole week. And you know, that gave me the ability to do the live streams and all that other good stuff. But you know, I had a weird bug happen to me in this game, and I don't know if any of you other guys have ever experienced this, but it was just the weirdest thing to me because I never seen that before. I never seen what I got before, and I ended up checking the Kerbal Space Program forums, and sure enough, it is a new bug. I guess it's been added to the game or something like that, but I should get to the actual bug. What ended up happening is you would be in the VAB designing your ship, let's say, or whatever it is you're doing in the VAB, obviously, and basically you can't click the, well, at least in my situation, I couldn't click the launch button, the save button, or the exit button, but I could click the new ship and the load ship buttons. And, you know, a lot of people were saying it had something to do with your save file, it had to do with this, it had to do with that, and I didn't want to sacrifice my save file because obviously after all the stuff I've done, that would kind of suck. So I ended up like researching into it a little bit more, and then somebody mentioned frame rates. So I'm going to mention this for other people who actually have this bug. Basically, all you have to do is change your frame rate to the lowest or not the frame rate, what am I talking about? Change your resolution to the lowest possible resolution because it's some kind of a graphical bug in the game. And basically the buttons do work, you just can't click them or something along the lines. And as long as it's on the lowest resolution, then it works perfectly fine, which I have a problem even understanding in the first place, but okay. So anyways, that works now. After the update, it took away the problem, but the new problem is that I am still getting the graphical glitches and all that other just unbelievably annoying stuff, but it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't affect my gameplay so much. I mean, you guys can see right now I'm getting fairly decent frame rate, so I'm not taking this thing out of orbit, or, you know, I'm not like putting it in a new orbit or taking it out of, you know, putting it any further out. I might do a correction burn just to maybe bring this at like a little bit of a better orbit, but I actually, know what, I'm not even going to waste the fuel. What I will do is I'm just going to transfer out all of this stage into our tanker. This will save a little bit because, you know, launching a refueling ship and a refueling mission to these things just isn't fun in any kind of way, and I don't understand how people could even enjoy doing something like that. But yeah, so we'll just transfer this stuff out. Really had no purpose bringing this extra RCS. You know, I didn't even use any of the RCS, so it was just kind of a worthless thing to bring in the first place. So, but overall, this is how much fuel we got up. It's not a lot, but hey, I mean, I'm not going to complain. We basically got to use... We could have probably launched with at least one of these tanks technically full, but I wasn't going to do the fuel transfers on the ground, and it just would have been a big mess. So, let's just decouple this here. And this is our basic ship here. This is the first piece of this ship. So, you know, just so everyone doesn't get confused, I'm going to try to bump this thing away like a baseball bat or something. And the back end's probably going to come back around and smash right into this ship. That would just be amazing. So, let's see. How's the control on it? Is it funky? Is it moving around at all? Still have to test that. You know, I really don't know about these things, because sometimes you just end up with some kind of weird, funky things happening to it, and you really just don't know what it is, or how to solve it, or fix it, or anything. So, let's see. Let's just bring this up, just to kind of level it off, and we'll go into the cockpit for a second, and I'll show you guys. I think it looks pretty awesome. I mean, you can't really see much of the ship or anything like that. I think you can see some of the lights. I think a docking port or something, but we'll go inside here. Whoops, wrong button. There we go. Oh, and look at that. You can see Minmus way out there. So he will be our first interplanetary pilot, I guess, if you want to call him that. I mean, this really isn't an interplanetary ship. He's going to be basically driving around a big freaking fuel tanker. So, I mean, it's got to be a pretty cool job. But, you know, I ended up adding, I guess I should mention some of the stuff I added, some of the stuff I took out. But there were solar panels right here. I took them away. No point in having them. Like I said, they're going to clip inside the structure. Don't like that. Added these docking ports instead. So now we have smaller size docking ports and medium docking ports. I'm not putting large docking ports on this thing. This thing will not be meeting up with any specific space stations or anything like that. It's going to be merely, I'm going to drive it to the moon, let's say, and then it's going to go into orbit, and then a smaller refueling ship will come, dock up, and then bring fuel to a fuel depot. And that's basically how it's going to stay with something like that. And it's not going to change in any kind of way. So I should make it a ship, and I'll just get rid of this here. Perfect. It'd be nice if you could, like, have a different thing instead of just ship, but I'll deal with that. So our next section, we'll be adding on the back here, and it's going to probably be some more of these orange tanks, something like, it might be kind of a clone of the middle, but I'm not 100% certain on what I'm going to do exactly. Not going to add any extra battery to it. And I should show you this. This is where I ended up adding the nuclear thermic reactor things on it, because it just made more sense to me to have those instead of having a bunch of solar panels. I have nothing against the solar panels. It was just a design change at the end, and it knocked down the parts by 4. So I mean, it's not a lot of parts, but at the same time it works. So we got our docking ports all set up, or I mean the RCS thrusters. Everything's looking good. Really, I mean, this has got to be one of my better designs as far as a tanker's concerned. I'm thinking this is going to end up really turning out looking awesome, and I'm probably going to have more of these control ports on it, everything. You know, like I said, it might be a little bit of a cookie cutter design the next launch, but that will be, you know, we're going to add more tanks to this thing, which is the most important thing, along with more RCS. So we'll just double what we have now, and that will be the maximum storage, along with a few fuel tanks in the back, basically for the engines. So anyways, guys, I mean, I know I'm just kind of orbiting around this thing going, look, but yeah. Anyways, guys, you know what, thank you for watching. If you like what you see here, subscribe. There's always more to come, and yeah, I will see you next time.